everyone. In this video, we will be doing an overview of the pollinator survey that you guys will be performing. So the first part of this video, we will be doing an overview of the instructions for this survey. So pollinators are extremely important to the well-being of our ecosystem. Different species of insects have different ways of pollinating plants. One example of that are bumblebees, who perform a type of pollination called sonification, also known as buzz pollination, in which they vibrate flowers at a certain frequency until those flowers release pollen. And sonification is vital for the pollination of crops such as tomatoes and blueberries. And so that's just one example. Other insects pollinate in different ways. So the pollination performed by insects is estimated to be worth billions of dollars. So we are extremely lucky to have these little friends to pollinate for us. And over the past few years, certain pollinators such as bees have been declining due to factors such as land loss, pesticides, and viruses. So it's extremely important that we do our part to assist pollinators in any way that we can. So what type of insects are pollinators? Many people know that bees are pollinators, but many other insects are pollinators as well. So here is a list of some different pollinators. So we've got Hymenoptera, the bees, which are the bees and wasps, Diptera, which includes flies, Coleoptera, which includes beetles, Lepidoptera, which includes butterflies and moths, and Hemiptera, which includes true bugs. So during this survey, you want to keep an eye out for all of these types of insects. So the goal of this survey is to get an idea of what pollinators are present in your green space and to compare this information between green spaces so we can hopefully learn how different green spaces impact the presence of pollinators. So for the overview of the survey, what you will be doing, so first you're going to pick an area in your green space that has flowers. It can either be wildflowers or planted flowers. And then you're going to count the number of pollinators that you see over the course of 3 minutes. You will then count the number of types of pollinators you see for an additional 3 minutes. And please read over the detailed instructions for this portion of the survey to get a more in-depth view of what exactly you're going to be doing. So choosing a location is really important. So when you're choosing a location, you want to look for an area that has flowers. And again, wildflowers or planted flowers are fine, since that is what pollinators will be attracted to. If there are multiple areas in your green space that have flowers, pick the area that looks like it has the most insect activity. And if there are no areas in your green space that have flowers, do not perform the pollinator survey at that particular time. However, every time you go back to your green space to do additional ecological surveys, look for flowers, and if you find them in the future, then you can do the pollinator survey at that time. So here's an example of a good location. As you can see, it has lots of flowers, and pollinators are going to be attracted to a place like this. Here is another example of a good location with some wildflowers, and pollinators would also be attracted to a place like this. Additionally, you could choose a location that has landscape flowers as opposed to wildflowers. That would also be fine. However, you would not want to choose a location like this since there are not any flowers and pollinators would not be likely to come here. So the frequency of this survey, you should do the pollinator survey every time you would go to your green space, as long as there are flowers present, as we discussed a minute ago. So now let's do a quick exercise. So for the following pictures of insects, determine what the order is and then determine if it is a pollinator. So please pause the video right now and we will come back and discuss. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys have paused the video and you guys have thought about which of these insects are pollinators and which of them are not. So let's start over here. So this is a honeybee of the order Hymenoptera, and they are pollinators. This is a true bug of the order Hemiptera. They are pollinators as well. This is a fly of the order Diptera, and they are also pollinators. This is a wasp of the order Hymenoptera, and they are pollinators. These are beetles of the order Coleoptera, and they are pollinators. This is a butterfly of the order Lepidoptera, and they are pollinators. This is a cockroach of the order Blatidea, and they are not pollinators. And this is a grasshopper of the order Orthoptera, and they are also not pollinators. So hopefully everyone got that right. So now we will be briefly talking about safety. So some pollinators, such as bees and wasps, have stinging capabilities. So for this reason, you need to exercise caution when performing this survey so you don't get hurt. If you have a known allergy to bees or wasp stings, as in you go into anaphylactic shock, we ask that you please do not participate in the pollinator survey so we can make sure that you are safe. So safety around stinging insects. So like I said, insects of the order Hymenoptera, such as bees, wasps, ants, and sawflies, have biting and stinging capabilities. Most of them won't try to sting you without a reason, but there is still a possibility that they could. So if you see a stinging insect, do not invade their space, do not swat at them, do not probe them in any way. Instead, you want to be a cautious observer of them. You want to appreciate their value to the ecosystem, and you want to think about why it benefits them to have a sting. Additionally, like I said, if you have a known allergy to bees, wasps, or ants, do not go near them, do not participate in this pollinator survey, and if you have an EpiPen, carry it with you just to be safe. If you've never been stung by a bee or a wasp or an ant before, please become familiar with the symptoms of severe anaphylactic shock. These include hives or itching, pale or flushed skin, difficulty breathing, throat or tongue swelling, rapid or weak pulse, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea, or dizziness. And if you are stung by one of these insects and you experience any of these symptoms, immediately alert someone and seek medical attention. For our last note on safety, for the safety of you and the insects, do not touch any live insects, stay away from any insects that you know to be harmful, and be cautious observers of all insects and show them respect. So thank you for listening, and good luck with your pollinator survey.